ago, my partner Jake discussed about wanting to get into film a couple coyote hunts, and we talked about doing something like Military Mondays, taking a vet out hunting just for fun around here. Fast forward a year, my neighbor gave me a card of a guy down the valley, Chris of Deuce Outfitters Ministry, who takes vets on hunts. We kind of threw it back and forth to maybe do one donated predator hunt per month. Chris came out and spoke at our county fair's church deal. We invited him over for lunch, sat down with him, and came to the conclusion that I think that is where we should go with Coyote Militia as far as another venture aside from fundraising.
So I'm Eric Bayley. I joined the Army Reserves in 1998, fresh out of high school. I served 18 years. I got out in 2015. I did a tour in Kuwait in 2003, 2004. I did a tour in Afghanistan in 2009. My primary job in the military was dealing with ammo, anything from issuing it to receiving it to transporting it, destroying it. Made a lot of memories, made a lot of friends.
So what we wanted to do, we wanted to break down this hunt into two days. The first day be really lax, laid back, easy to hunt. First day we just kind of stayed around my hometown and just did a couple stands before lunch, a couple after lunch, came back into town, ate pizza, and just kind of eased him into coyote hunting as far as what it entails. And then the second day we went out to a ranch and we just grinded it out all day, making stands.
So we'd been hunting in the morning and we come up to this stand. Brian put me right in the perfect spot. He said, you know, we're gonna start calling and this coyote's gonna come right up over this little bull. And so we're sitting there and calling for a few minutes, and sure as heck, this pretty little coyote pops its head up right over this little ridge where he said it would probably be coming from. And
got one coming. You see him? He just popped right up over that ridge. I'm gonna take a shot.
so I raised my gun, and she was about 228 yards out, pulled the trigger, and killed my very first Nebraska coyote. It was very exciting. Right in the throat.
I put you where you can.
But yeah.
Good job, brother. Awesome. How you feeling?
Awesome.
It's even a pointer too. You got a little white tip on that baby.
Mm-hmm.
I seen that coyote coming, and I was like, I hope you guys see it. And I figured it was gonna come right here where I told you to sit.
Yeah.
This little dip. And how far a shot was it?
228 yards.
Was it? I was 255, and I'm like, I don't want to take this shot because I'm like, it's right where I put you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say.
Hey, now we can go home.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I seen him pop over that hill, and he just stood there and looked.
Who looked? Well, I'm sure he was probably trying to figure out where, and he couldn't even see the call from here. I mean, he was tucked. That call, he couldn't see it at all, so he's probably trying to get a beat where it was at. So after Eric shot his first coyote, we loaded up in the side-by-side, ran back into town, put that coyote inside the garage out of the heat and the sun. A good friend of mine, Joe, is gonna tan that coyote for Eric. That way Eric will always have his. The first day of our hunt was very windy, very warm. It was really just hard to get on coyotes. You had to get within that I call it that theoretical bubble that a coyote wants to come in at, and we were having a hard time getting on it. And on this stand, we sat down, we were facing the wind was howling in our face. We had Jake tucked up by this rock trying to get the camera out of the wind, and unfortunately you never like to see an animal suffer a little bit, but we got her rolled up with a second shot, a bang bang deal.
Oh, coyote. Straight down to our left. What? You on? Are you on him? I'm gonna shoot him then. Goodness gracious.
On the second day, it was our first stand in the morning. We pulled in, we didn't even load the side-by-side. We just hopped out, we walked this fence line up and over. There's a pivot off to the right of us, and there's a windmill, it's a pasture, and about 7 minutes into this stand, and this coyote came trotting down the fence line, and we thought it was gonna come right into our lap. And unfortunately, that coyote got held up by a mouse or something, ended up mousing. It just wasn't no longer interested in what we were trying to sell. And the coyote was held up about 520 yards. We told Eric to just go ahead and send it, make a shot, and he ended up shooting high. And the good thing about shooting suppressed is if you miss high and that bullet lands behind that coyote runs closer to you.
Okay, if you can get broadside, go ahead. Nope. Got him. Yep. 502 yards.
So on this stand, we kind of were in the slumps a little bit because the stand before, well, it wasn't even a stand. We just got done calling this one stand, and we took the side-by-side. We're just gonna go over this little roll of a hill. And as soon as we came up over that, we busted out a coyote that was walking this draw. And so we were kind of down on ourselves a little bit, especially myself, trying to get Eric on more and more coyotes. And so we continued on, and our heads down, and we came up over this other little hill, which normally I would have probably just drove over. We were trying to get to this big hill that was full of yuccas, and it was another hot, windy day. But I was like, well, I'm not gonna have this happen again. So we parked, and we walked up over this hill, and we seen another coyote just mousing this cattle trail down in this huge open flat in the wind and the heat. And so we hurry up, sat down, got on stand, started the stand off with baby cottontail demise, and that coyote was probably only 400 yards away, and this just goes to show how windy it was. I had the Lucky Duck on max 32 volume, and that coyote did not hear that at all. And so I swapped over to Lucky Pecker, and it took probably 10-15 seconds of max volume Lucky Pecker for that sound to reach that coyote. But as soon as that coyote heard it, she came in hauling the mail, and we put Eric on his second coyote. Sure, Eric doesn't want to relive this particular stand with the second ever coyote. From his first one being a center punch shot at 228 yards and the coyote didn't move at all, to this one being a 124-yard shot that was a mortal wound. It was a gut shot, but it took off running, and Eric had to go chasing after it. And the funny thing about that whole stand is he gets up chasing after it and just trying to shoot it while his heart rate's at 180, and then he runs out of bullets. So Jake has to run back to the side-by-side and bring down bullets for Eric, and it was not an ideal second coyote for Eric.
Do you want to talk about your second coyote?
Not really. I feel bad about that one.
And so yeah, at the end of 2 days, we were able to get 6 coyotes total. We got 3.5 on camera. And it was really fun to get to know Eric. I get to hang out with him, get to know his story a little bit more. I think just listen to what he has to say. I think in a world right now that seems to want to forget everything, that it's still very important that we remember those who sacrificed so much of their own life. They're still sacrificing to this day, even while they're at home, with suffering with PTSD and anxiety from being overseas. And I don't think we should ever forget that. There's no better therapy, I think, than to get away from man's creation and step into God's creation, and just to break away from the world and just get to enjoy nature, fellowship with people who care. And coming from myself and Jake, who never did serve in the military, wanted to give back in some capacity. We kind of accomplished this trip with Eric, and look forward to doing it in the next coming months with more vets. So Eric, I want to thank you personally for spending your time with us, getting to fellowship, and most importantly, Eric, thank you for your 18 years of service, serving this great country, telling us your story, talking about your kids, your dogs, and your wife, who was gracious enough to let you come with us, and entrusting us with you and your safety. Through these last couple days, you have gained a brother. Thank you, Eric.